Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Salim bin Mohammed Rafi, and here is my YouTube channel Zamir Universal. Today I am going to be talking to you about where is humanity stands today, and in spite of the fact since the creation of this world and the arrival of first our forefathers, Prophet Adam's peace be upon him, how have we changed? Have we changed for the good, or we have changed for the worst? The divine messages were sent to us times and times again, and recently the last messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I will take some parts from the time Prophet Muhammad was born, where he was born, what he preached, and what did he do, how he conducted himself, how he dealt with the idolatry, how he dealt with his idol worship, how he dealt with the falsehood and the cruelty inflicted upon the newborn female child, the slavery and feudal, wars between the different tribes. Unfortunately, what we see today is, and especially the Jewish Zionism and RSS in India has opened our eyes and really taken the lid off the dirt, the filth, the most cruel, the animalish part out of us, and taken the humanity to its 0 point. And we let it happen. And the pursuit of money, and the only criteria left in a human society was that whoever has got more money, irrespective whether he is a murderer, he is the most corrupt person on this world, he is a womanizer, he tells lies, he lives on interest, he kills, slaughters women and children, he commits war crimes, he does not obey any rules of society to live together. And I will prove that 1443 years ago, the message left by the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, where he specifically, told her explicitly the rules of war and the conquest of Makkah. Listen to what he said: all those behind doors are safe. All in Abu Sufyan's home are safe. All who do not fight are safe. So he could have killed everyone as the Jews killed in this present current Gaza, and have taken the peace and tranquility of the whole world. Whole world is suffering on account of them. Let alone be the starvation they've used, and they cut water, they cut electricity, they stopped food going in there, the medicine going in there, and every piece of healthcare structure and institution they destroyed. They destroyed the very basic schools, colleges, universities, all research institutes, archives, museums, mosques, churches, synagogues. So you can understand where is at the moment the extent of cruelty, and you forget, the whole world will forget all the cruel people ever since the creation of this world. They have the top of the list are these Zionists, and do they have any right to exist? And would the rest of the world let them compromise there and pull them to that 0 station of human? It's all those people, millions coming out on the roads throughout the world, irrespective whether it's a Christian world or whether it's a atheist world or it's a Buddhist world. There have been demonstrations by humans. Someone is going and trying to reverse the idol worship, and you can see that what Prophet did at that stage, and they are going completely against. It's not only Zionists and Jews. We have many, many wolves covered with sheep, and you can see what the UAE, with the largest Hindu temple, and what they feed to those idols, and they call it prasad. And listen to the speech of the Pandit. He says that all that prayers you have done in the month of Ramadan and all that fasting, you have brought this to this idol in that temple, and you are now breaking your fast. Should this man be proud? This man with the broken teeth, and look at that big robe. So you can see now people converting back again into kafirs, mushriks, hypocrites, munafiqs, and denying that Kul ya ayyuhal kafiruna la abudu ma ta'buduna wa la antum abiduna ma abud la antum abiduna ma abud lakum dinakum waliyadin. This is exactly what that time the mushrik wanted, that you pray in front of these idols around Mecca, to Hubal and all those. You can see the women, and you can see sheep slaughtered and their blood being pasted to their naked thighs, and they are reverting back to it. And the leader who started this all, following and running after the money, was the UAE, became an example, and that is the example. Then Mohammed bin Salman, another. Nobody can say he is a Muslim, and nobody will say that the UAE Prince Rashid is a Muslim. They are not Muslims. They are wolves covered with the sheep and pretending to be a Muslim. And that's what is the reason why they are coward and they are afraid to die. And that is why they never helped millions of Gaza people starving, dying of dehydration and thirst. When you look at their skeletons, when you look at the starved people without homes, and you see the devastation and destruction of North Gaza, South Gaza, and now concentrated in Rafah, where they want to just corner them and kill them all, or push them in the Sinai Desert. Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia. Look at the 57 Islamic countries. They are cowed down, and they are being now punished one by one, disgracefully, as there has been exit of Erdogan, a big liar who said, I will protect Al-Aqsa Mosque. Damn you and damn your drones and damn your jets that you covered. You have paid the price through your nose. And so would Pakistani people at the moment, hiding their F-16, their pilots, their guns, their missiles, the Gauris, everything is all nonsense. Even their nukes are just dust, because when you don't believe.
I have never been so ashamed of Israel as I am at this moment. To me, it seems as if Hitler has won. He's changed us, Jews, from being compassionate and caring and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, into this vicious, genocidal, nationalist nation, pursuing and killing women and children. What we are doing, Jewish people, over in Israel, is shocking, embarrassing, and wicked. And in the name of humanity, I call upon all Jews to shout, beg, scream for a ceasefire. It is not anti-Semitic to have a different opinion on the wartime actions now.
So are you saying Benjamin Netanyahu deliberately boosted Hamas to try to prevent a Palestinian state?
Yeah, sure. He deliberately and systematically even told, is on record, whoever wants to avoid the threat of a two-state solution has to support my policy of paying protection money to the Hamas.
So what we did, with the permission of our Prime Minister, is to let Qatar to transfer a huge amount of money in cash, probably more than $1 $1.4 billion. By doing it, we increased the power of Hamas. We did everything in order to make sure that Hamas will go on controlling Gaza, and Palestinian Authority will control the West Bank, so they will fight each other.
Netanyahu maintains the Qatar money was to avoid.
This is a complex situation. It's 75 years ago. There is a statute of limitations on things like this, a moral statute of limitations. Move on. Establish yourselves in the countries that you left and went to. Get rid of these refugee camps. Get rid of UNRWA and become full citizens of the countries you moved to, the way my grandparents became full citizens of the United States
let me go
after pogroms had made them leave Poland.
Okay, come to Norman Finkelstein. Your response to that?
Okay, thank you, Piers. First of all, as a general point, I agree with the notion of a statute of limitations on your claims to a parcel of land. The first time I came across that expression was reading Arnold Toynbee's great history of the world, actually. And he makes the point in his history that isn't there a statute of limitation on the claims of Jews to Palestine? He said that claim was made 2,000 years ago. And it's claimed that, even today it's claimed that, based on what happened 2,000 years ago, there's a large portion of Israeli population who believes they have title to the West Bank, they have title to Gaza, because of that claim 2,000 years ago. Isn't there a statute of limitations? Allow me to complete my thought, and then you can disagree. Isn't there a statute of limitations on a claim from 2,000 to 3,000 years ago?
Report prepared by the Director of National Intelligence about the Netanyahu government claims about that agency. You seem to be implying that the links to terror groups are unfounded.
Oh, there's no doubt that the claim that Prime Minister Netanyahu and others are making that somehow UNRWA is a proxy for Hamas are just flat-out lies. That's a flat-out lie.
After colonization ended, we needed new structures to keep these countries where they were. Okay? And the first of those is aid. Okay? We give them aid. Aid for what? Actually, we give them aid to keep repressive regimes in power. That's all. Okay? We're not giving them aid for much more except a little bit of infrastructure to make sure those raw materials get to the ports and aren't gotten out of the ground. But for the most part, we give repressive regimes money and power and guns to keep that system going. This is what it's fundamentally about. All the hypocrisy about transparency and democracy and bullshit like that, it's all bullshit. You know? And at least the Chinese don't enter into that bullshit. They say, we don't care about the whole political environment, we just give the money. Okay? And it's for raw material extraction, period. Okay? Number two, and this was a very important one, still is debt. I was telling some of my students today, was it today or yesterday, about Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Do you remember this? Have any of you heard of this one? Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's a book written by John Perkins, who used to work for a very nebulous, opaque bank. No one had ever heard of this bank, but it was formed in the 1950s by the IMF, the CIA, and the American State Department. And it had only one job: to lend money to developing countries that were raw material producers in order to indebt them. Once you are in my debt, I control you. Okay? And this bank had 4,000 employees. But no one ever heard of this bank, you see. But it would go to country after country offering loans. And if the president did not accept the loan, they were killed. And he gives two examples of presidents who were killed when they did not accept the loan. You see, the lending is also very important to trap the country. It's very important. It's part of that process. I teach in Suriname. And Suriname in recent times had a huge foreign exchange reserve. So big they didn't need to borrow money. And then one of my students who was very high up in government, he said, you know, the IMF is trying to convince us to borrow money from foreigners. Why? I thought, duh, you know, sorry about this, but, you know, this is the game. And in the end, Suriname did borrow this money because the IMF said, if foreigners lend to you, then everyone will think Suriname is such a strong economy that foreigners are interested in lending to you. You understand? Before Lula came to power.
On April 15th, people across 4 continents will launch an economic blockade in solidarity with Palestine. Through this coordinated mobilization, we will jam up trade choke points and disrupt the global economy. 30 cities and counting have joined the effort. This comes as Yemen is bombed to secure global trade routes and billions of dollars continue to fund the occupation. The time has come to open up new fronts against the Zionist war machine. It's time for collective risk. The global movement for Palestine has been gaining unprecedented momentum. What is happening in Gaza is unbearable, and we know that symbolic actions are not enough. We must escalate. As Palestinians face one brutal atrocity after another, we've watched them respond with collective resilience and fortitude. They inspire us to action. Their pain is our rage. For this, we are organizing and coordinating, and on April 15th, we will disrupt global logistical hubs and will clog flows of capital worldwide. In Melbourne, Australia, Taipei, Taiwan, Genoa, Italy, Catalonia, Spain, Miami, Oakland, London, Athens, Greece, Detroit, Seattle, Montreal, and in dozens of other cities across the world, we will identify and blockade major choke points in the economy. We will focus on points of production and circulation with the aim of causing maximum economic impact. If one city faces police repression, other cities will extend or expand blockades in solidarity. We will not talk to the police. Solidarity is affinity, and we have each other's backs. For 75 years, Israel has operated with impunity, but the Zionist project must end now. Go to a15action.com for more information on how to plug in.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर